Hello, everybody. Welcome to Paranormal Pursuit News. My name is Maya. We have with us Robert and Sandy, and today we are going to discuss what's been all over the news, UFOs, or now as they call them, UAPs.
UAPs. I think I think the most fascinating thing to me, and this is what I want to get into with the two of you, is the debate that's going behind this report that's about to come out from the Pentagon. I mean, these are unprecedented times, obviously, where the government is actually admitting that they don't know what some of these uh, UFO sightings or UAP sightings are all about. And it is driving everyone crazy, from conspiracy theorists to scientists to people who want to believe that aliens are here, extraterrestrials are here. And then on the other end of the spectrum, you have your military men and your people who think that they have a little bit more of a grounded knowledge into what they are, that they're actually just really advanced technology, either by our own government or the Russians or the Chinese.
Yeah, but you know what doesn't make sense
And
about that? For
what's
20,
that?
for 20 years or longer, I mean, you can go back to Washington where he said that, UFO sightings that he saw. But let's just go back to World War II, where they definitely have tons of those. There's no way that they had that technology 20 years ago, never mind now. And I think that the exact definition of them saying that, well, we don't know if it's alien technology, but the way that they say that it moves, the trajectory, the way it just, you know, goes into the water in 2 seconds, disappears a second later, goes vertically with no compulsion. Compulsion, is that the right word? What?
Propulsion,
Yes,
yes.
yes. I mean, that to me is alien technology, and we have the same stuff that the Russians have, the Chinese have. It's. What do you think, Sandy? I don't think that it's. I think it's UFOs. I mean, you
And
channel
I think
ETs.
yes, I do. I think part of the problem is what you're pointing out, that the definition of what a UFO will be based on technology, which is constantly changing, is how they're getting away with becoming or making very vague statements. I mean, most recently I caught on CNN, so the commentary is, well, we don't really, we can't really say that we know that they're here, but we also can't say that we know they're not here.
Right.
And I think a lot of what's going on, and the reason why they're able to do that is because of what you're saying. The definition is constantly changing. Nobody is saying this is exactly what we're looking for, and we're basing it on the most recent technology. They're always changing that, and I think that becomes a problem.
Right, which and I think also, which our next show we will talk about that more. But I know that we're always saying how a lot of us, just feel like that we're not originally from here. You know, it feels normal to us, natural to us that we're not afraid. I think we believe that, like any other kind of intelligent entities, you have good and bad. You have some that have good intentions, some that have bad intentions. But I mean, people are ready for it.
Well, I think we need to talk about the type of soul origins that exist on this planet. We need to talk about those individuals like myself who talk about channeling extraterrestrials. Yes, I know that we have RNA and DNA that is extraterrestrial. I know how the Anunnaki came in and masked themselves as light beings, but yet we're here to really steal certain chemicals that were on this planet, certain metals, to mine certain metals, and so then there was interbreeding during
Right.
Lemurian times, during Atlantean times, during Egyptian times. I mean, we can go back and talk about a lot of that, and that's really the beginnings of, well, where can you actually say UFOs started?
Right.
Yeah, where they
Yeah.
started.
I mean,
Look
even
at
in
all. Look,
okay, I'll say even in the oldest biblical texts, they have in images that were painted. There's UFOs. I mean, Robert, you're a researcher. And you're a
I
reporter
think
too. Why do you think that now is when they're putting it out finally? It was supposed to come out during the Hillary times when they thought Hillary was going to be elected. She was supposed to be the one that was going to make all the big announcements. You think now because Biden's in office?
No, I think now it's because with our video technology and the fact that everything is out there now, everybody has basically a really good video camera in their pocket. So we're catching unbelievable footage of things, and when a lot of it can be discounted as the old, weather balloons and natural phenomenon or whatever it is. But there is a small percentage of really intriguing footage that makes you stop and wonder what the heck is this. Now, A lot of it is blurry. A lot of it is civilian with handheld um iPhones, etc. But when you have Navy pilots and they're caught on audio and video saying, "Whoa, dude, what the F is that?" And they cannot believe what they're seeing and they're having trouble tracking these things. That's what's kind of scary to me.
But it's all over the news suddenly. I mean, Sandy, you were saying too, every single news. I mean, because we know that they have on June I think 20th, that the director of intelligence is going to report to the Senate Intelligence Committee, and they're going to do a report.
20th or the 25th. Here's another piece of it. People have been locked away. We've been isolated. We've had to deal with an unfortunate experience. People are hungry.
Yeah.
They're angry. They're desperate, and they're looking for answers.
Right.
COVID has really destroyed us in so many ways, and now we're looking for answers, and they don't want to stand for the answer from the government. Well,
Right.
yeah, we don't know, and we can't tell you. And so I think that's really prompting a lot of this and really forcing government officials to do something, at least offer some kind of information. Absolutely.
But if the ETs wanted to show themselves, hypothetically, I mean, and I'm talking about in the way of, and I'm not saying that they haven't. I mean, but I've had experiences. I've seen things that I cannot explain, that I believe some of them were ETs. But why don't they just go down in the middle of Times Square and be like, here I am?
Make sure we don't create massive panic.
Yeah.
Everything has to be introduced in a way that it's a comfort zone for all. And there's a spectrum of who can accept and who can't.
What do you think?
It would blow apart what everyone believes in terms of organized religion.
That's true.
It's most religions are all about, we are here on earth and there's a superior being, and when we die, if we live a good life, we go to that beautiful heaven, promised land in the sky. And this would just destroy that and create widespread panic, widespread paranoia, as Sandy said.
I see heaven as a Club Med for a little break in between lives.
So seriously, but if they are indeed here, this is why they haven't shown.
I think they've been here. I think they've been here since.
Okay, but then the question arises: why, if they have been here, why just tease it?
Right. Do they have a deal with the governments, maybe? A lot of people believe that.
That could be it too. But I think we're sort of getting a little bit away from. Well, we're not really. We're on the same subject. But I think what's happening now is because of this report that's coming out from the Pentagon, because government officials have come out and basically said there's no proof that this is alien visitation, but we cannot rule it out either. That's blowing people's minds. So, I mean,
other people are like, yeah, we know.
well, yeah, which is why we're here, with this company, present company. But for someone like myself, who I've grown up, I remember, we're all children of the atomic age, the baby boomer age, put it that way, when these things really started getting out there. I've been to Roswell. I've done stories about Roswell. I've spoken to people who are the children. I spoke to a guy named Marcel, and I forget his last name. His father was the one who was the cop who found the debris.
Okay.
Out in Roswell.
Right.
And it's fascinating. And yet, as they've gotten older, and one of the researchers that turned me on to it, the whole subject, when I did the interview, he's changed his mind, and he's sort of realized that just like the Kennedy assassination, things sort of get out of hand, rumors start, word spreads the wrong way, and suddenly what may have indeed been a weather balloon may have indeed been a experimental aircraft, because it was the beginning of the jet age in 1947, suddenly turns into, alien spaceship, flying saucer crashing, and the bodies being taken away and hidden in Area 51.
Well, Harry Reid was just on a show. He was the former Senate Majority Leader, and I guess he was really into the whole UFO thing, one of the ones pushing it from the top. And he had said that there were a lot of things he cannot talk about. He's been to Area 51 a whole bunch of times. But yes, indeed, there were a lot of times that it was the new fighter jets or the new... But he also pretty much said, without directly saying it, absolutely, they have other things there too. Or he hinted towards that.
He could have been teasing it, and he could have been intimating that.
He believes, and he knows they're there.
Yeah. But still, it's like, it always just strikes me that when we, in the past, especially now, you see more of it. These crafts, these UFOs, were always seen around military bases for the most part. It could be okay. So they're coming here, they're investigating what kind of weapon humans have. Is it better than ours? Can it hurt us? That's one argument to make. But on the other hand, it could very well be because we've been spying on the Russians and the Chinese for 60, 70 years since the end of World War II. They've been spying on us the same way. Could it be that they're using their drones, their advanced drones, or is it our own people just buzzing their own bases and having fun? Pilots like to do that too.
True.
So that's why it just gives me pause before we start saying, yes, it's from outer space, that we need to consider, is it from here first?
Right. Well, but like I said, they said that they cannot rule it out. And since there's been sightings for years and years and years and years, when we definitely did not have that kind of technology. No, Sandy, you channel the Pleiadians, is that correct? The Pleiadians that you said you channel?
Arcturian.
So, Arcturians?
Predominantly Pleiadians.
Okay,
yes.
so what are they saying? Well, let's blow Robert's mind for a minute.
Well, first, if you don't mind, just explain to me exactly what Pleiadians are. I'm assuming that this is an ancient interstellar civilization. Is that right?
That
Okay.
is correct. And they are known as peacekeepers. They're one of the 4 planets that were beings rather, that came from 4 planets that initially came to the Earth in the creation of this planet. An interplanetary galactic council was developed. Arcturia, Pleiades, Sirian. Okay. There were beings that have come to this planet to assist this planet through the evolutionary process that those planets have already gone through. Pleiades being one of them. Pleiades is nomadic. They are nomadic beings. They've been kicked out of their homes many times because they do not battle. They do not fight. They are peacekeepers. All of their communication is basically telepathic, and they are here to assist us. They are absolutely here. Now, how can I prove that? Well, I can prove that by telling you I know that and I channel them. And by saying that, is that something that others will be skeptic about? Of course. Will I be able to validate it? In many ways, yes. Will there be skepticism about the validations? Of course, because that's how we exist. We are skeptical of what we fear. And it goes back to the original point of, well, then why are they not showing themselves? To not incite fear. But think about what's gone on in the past 20 years. Think about the numerous sightings. Think about the individuals that have nothing to do with the government that are now starting to see objects that they're identifying.
So you think they're showing themselves more now?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Look in your local papers. Look at your local news. You're seeing more and more information. More sightings are being brought to our attention. Think about, how can we validate something if we're not even aware that it exists?
All right. Well, who would you think was here?
To be aware. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Who would you think is here besides the Pleiadians? Because I would have to think that it's definitely more than just one group, because everybody gets in on the mix. There's no way that...
Absolutely, yeah. Pleiadians were the first beings that were arriving on this planet to assist. There are, other beings from different places that are here. Arcturians, Syrians, Anunnakis. Okay, there are several different generations that have arrived here. And for a very long time, it has been what I would say kept very quiet. Absolutely. And think about the correlation between, most recently, the government and what they're about to let us know, or what they're going to attempt to let us know, if it's anything at all, being correlated with a tremendous increase across the globe of sightings. There are no coincidences. Maybe that's pointing to let us know that the beings that are here are absolutely ready to, as you asked before, start to make themselves known on whatever level they can. That's why we're seeing more sightings. That's why it's been increased lately. The time for action is now, and we are in our evolutionary process. We are undergoing a a huge awakening and ability to ascend energetically.
Yeah, but
And that ascension is beyond.
but as always, don't you think there are going to
I'm
be?
sorry.
I was going to say, as always, don't you think there will be some that will want to take advantage of the humans, use them, and there'll be plenty that will offer. They'll be like, take me, I'll do whatever you want. You know that's true.
There's duality in everything.
Right.
There's light and dark. There's always duality. Absolutely. Yeah. And I also think there are some that'll say, "Please take me."
That's yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah. So you're saying that there's different civilizations here at the same time, or
Yes.
different? Are they getting along amongst themselves? Are they similar to each other in terms of appearance, or I mean, first of all, are they physical beings, or do they manifest themselves psychically?
Both. They are. So they do take on physical
Mm-hmm.
form. They take on
As
physical
humans,
presence, and their soul.
as
And
humans, okay,
some do.
or
Yeah.
animals, or
Yes,
Mhm.
as animals, as human, as all forms of creation. Um, to answer the other question, do they get along? For the most part, but as Maya says,
Yeah.
there are some here that maybe don't exactly have the best intentions.
The apple doesn't
And
drop
so
that
there
far
are
from the
some
tree.
discrepancies.
I mean, I believe that we're all created by a higher intelligence, different, and I think even more so lately. But this also could be the beginning of bipartisanship. I mean, even Tucker Carlson, who even he was talking about it, and Giuliani was even talking about it. Obama was talking about it. Hillary's been. So I mean, maybe it'll end up being something that we can actually agree on at first, and then we're gonna all have our separate.
Right. Well, I think the one thing that's good is the veil has been lifted.
A little bit.
People used to laugh at people who would come out and say things like that, and we're being visited by ETs, etc. And now, and politicians certainly didn't want to get into it or talk about it as much as now. So that's always a good thing. But what I want to go back to is the fact that if they're different beings, if I can call them beings, as you say, and some of them are light and some of them are dark, inevitably, don't you think that there's going to be some sort of battle or push for control of an inferior species here on Earth?
Who you call inferior?
Well, technologically, maybe even spiritually, we have a lot of problems.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've been spiritually attacked, which that'll be a whole other show. But
that's another show.
That's a whole other show.
I think to answer your question, that's one of the reasons why there's a current increase in sightings and interactions and communications and channeling, because those that are here to truly assist us and are here in peace and to keep peace are now, and I don't want to use the word, I'm very hesitant, are now battling with those who are here for different purposes.
Which I would
But
believe.
remember, no matter what your belief system is, light will always prevail.
That I
It will always
believe.
prevail. It's a much stronger.
But now, Sandy, can I ask you? So, in your opinion, when you want to channel or want to get a hold of ETs, I guess so to speak, like there will be times that I'll ask for guidance, I'll ask for help, and certainly I know sometimes it's my guide, or maybe my guide is an alien. Who knows, right? But and I'll ask for a sign. I'll definitely get exact signs. But do you think if you sit there and you try to focus and telepathically speak to certain ET, do you think that like they get our email? Do they get our? Maybe it's just sitting there blinking and somebody answers it finally, up in their spaceship. Yeah, this one. Okay, give this one a little guidance over here. I mean, do you think we can talk with them like that, like the average person?
Yes.
Just like that, really.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Just like that. What creates us from not being able to do that is our doubt and our fear. We all have the capability. I mean, we're using, we understand 5% of our DNA. We're using such a limited percentage of our brain capacity. We have unlimited potential. What prevents us from that across the board in everything? Doubt and fear.
Right.
Of course you can. I'm no different than anybody else. Everyone can channel what I'm channeling if they chose to do so. I mean, that's one of the things I do in my mentoring classes. I teach people how to channel, and I teach them how to channel extraterrestrial energy. And there are people that have had no experience prior to that.
I mean, I still have the
So
question,
that's the
why
answer to that
now?
question.
I still have that question, why now? You know what I mean? Like, why? I mean, and it's not Russia, it's not China, it's not.
Because I mean, my answer to that, and that actually, of course, is my opinion thrown in there, is why now? Well, think of the state of our planet.
Oh God, I know we're a mess. We're a hot mess.
Yeah.
That's why now. They've been here watching now, and they're here to help, and they're finally going.
They're like,
oh shit, we've really got to jump in. It's getting bad. We better help them.
You can make the argument that civilization has been pretty screwed up for thousands of years. You know.
Oh yeah.
And so that's a long time to be waiting and watching. I mean, what does it take to help?
But time's relative,
Well, that's true. But why go through then thousands of years of bloodshed and stupidity?
Maybe the bad side was winning.
Inhumanity.
Maybe the bad side was winning, and now the good side's starting to win.
And because as a collective group, we're individuals. We're all here. We've made contracts before we incarnate. We make contracts. There are lessons we're learning. We're here to learn them. I can't learn yours. You can't learn mine. So how can a being come in, or a group of beings come in, and all of a sudden decide that they're going to change destiny? Destiny can't be changed. As a collective group on the planet, as a people, a collective group, humans, we have to really learn our own lessons. Nobody can learn them for us. However, we can have assistance, and we can have people teach us maybe a better way, or beings teach us a better way. There's been attempts. Think about the rise and fall of civilizations. Think about Atlantis. Think about Lemuria, right? Think about Egypt. Think about the rise and fall. History has repeated itself, of course. Have there been others here to assist us through those times? Yes. But could they actually learn the lesson for us? No. Still our responsibility. We're getting better at it. Hopefully, we're really going to get it one of these days.
Some of us.
Everybody here helping us, and if they help us.
I think it's been a long trip.
It's a really long trip.
So if there are civilizations here and beings here with bad intentions, let's say, then how could they harm us then? Or are they the ones that are promoting the violence and the...
I would think so. I would think subconsciously, right?
I think they can harm us in many ways. I think there's, yes, subconsciously, yes, telepathically. I think they're capable of creating, perhaps manifesting energetically, but also creating physicality through etheria, manifesting physical illness for us, manifesting, destruction, topographical, geographical destruction. Absolutely. On so many levels, they can be destructive.
So what should we...
What's to not know?
Go ahead.
Think about what's to say, and again, opinion, COVID. Where'd COVID come from? Where does influenza come from?
Negative energies, because there's no reason for them.
Negative energy, absolutely. And unreleased, just as cumulative and destructive on a physical and an emotional level. Individually.
So would the Palladians be the ones to defend the human race or help the human race against the...
I think we need some warrior ones too, because if they're not going to do any fighting, we're going to need a few more. We may need some Arcturians.
Yes, ladies are the teachers. However, they are the ones that will be communicating with those that will ensure that the peace exists.
Right.
Absolutely. And yes, Maya, you're absolutely right.
All right.
There are 19 generations of Pleiadians here. 19 generations.
That goes back how many years? Thousands?
More.
Since the commencement of this planet, when the meteorites from Mars arrived on this planet, when Mars, think of panspermia, when the theory of panspermia, right? I mean, that's real, it exists. When all of when Mars was early in its early stages, and so was the Earth. And the meteorites from Mars landed on the Earth, having the same homeostasis and same unicells as we do here on this planet, and that's panspermia. The thought that the beginning of life here could also be creating us as Martians. Panspermia.
So, how much do we think the government's going to come out with the report? And do we think that the
Nothing.
ETs are going to have anything to?
Yeah.
Do we think the ETs will have anything to do with it?
Nothing.
They're just going to say the same thing. We cannot confirm nor deny. We can neither confirm nor deny the presence of extraterrestrial life forms. But at least it's giving people a freedom to come out and say when they see something, pilots to come out and say something, regular everyday people to come out and say something where they're not going to be. I mean, I never cared if I was laughed at, but a lot of people do. And at least it'll give people the freedom to speak more openly about it. So maybe that's the first step. It's a step.
Awareness and acceptance.
Sure.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of these government people, they're looking at it, and military people, they're looking at it more as a national security threat, I think. So they're missing the boat. If they're saying, if they're already saying it's not going to be extraterrestrial, it's not going to be alien in source, they're thinking then again Russia and China and weapons.
And that could be used to fear.
Sure. I mean, you can't trust. The last 4 years before Biden have proven you cannot trust this government.
No.
I mean, it's you just cannot trust people in government. You cannot trust people in authority.
I know. Come here.
But that's what worries me, is that we're going to miss, if indeed what you are saying is true, that we have been inhabited for all these millennia, then we're going to miss the boat yet again by just equating this to earthbound phenomenon. That it is our supposed enemies and not someone from distant civilizations.
Well, these are the theories that we've been bombarded with over the years. I mean, look at Aliens, Sigourney Weaver. Let's talk about, Independence Day, Will Smith. Like, just think about all of the movies. Other than E.T. Phone Home, are there any aliens or E.T.s ever depicted?
That's
as
not
something?
true. Alf. Alfie, wasn't it Alf?
Yeah.
Two. We got two.
Actually, Stephen Hawking once said, I think, and I'm probably paraphrasing him, but he said, we shouldn't be so ready as to try to contact other civilizations, because if they find us, they'll come here, they'll eat us. Is basically what he said.
I mean, I think that if they really wanted to destroy us, they would have a long time ago. And who knows, maybe that's what happened to Atlantis. Maybe that's what happened to during the Ice Age. I guess we can only live in our moment now, right? See what the future brings.
That's true. So trying to get everything back into one plane here. If they've been here, what are we seeing then when we see these UFOs and UAPs? Are we seeing their vehicles? Are they living under sea, for instance? And one of those videos happened to catch one of them coming up.
So there are simultaneous transports all over the globe. There are grids of transport systems. A lot of them are sea bound, water bound. So you'll see, especially if you go out to Montauk, and I've actually had I do a retreat out there once a year, and I had a group of people. I had like 40 people out there with me. All 40 saw the ship land and then
at
leave.
the same time.
All
at the
40.
same time.
So
Sandy.
absolutely. So one could turn around and say, "Well, oh, that one's imagining it," but how could you say that about 40 people simultaneously?
Right.
There were, to answer your question. Sorry, I got distracted. I was excited.
You're reminiscing. You're like, that was so cool.
There are what you call landing pads. Yeah, there are landing pads all over. They're existing. Think about crop circles. There has been so much speculation. What are crop circles? They're actually areas where there are grids where, throughout certain periods of time, certain of the beings were putting themselves down, so to speak, or landing, so to speak.
True.
Are you saying Montauk or the area around Montauk might be one of these places?
I'm not saying it might be. I'm saying it is.
Wow.
Absolutely.
I'll tell you why, because I've been going out to Montauk for many years for a little R&R, and every time I do, and it's been a while, obviously with what's been going on, and every time I do, I feel things have happened to me. I feel like when I'm off my path, I go out there and I'm put back on my path,
Hmm.
and I'm usually able to see and feel and know when I'm getting the signs. And the last time I was out there, and I think you were there, and I wish I had known that you were out there because it was the middle of May, and I would have loved to see what you do with your audience or your followers.
Not ET posse.
Yeah, your ET posse. But it's true. I feel a spiritual connection out there, and it's not just the pristine beaches and the sea and the sky, etc. It's where I go. It's where I go to get inspired. Let's put it that way.
And so, the reference, your buddy Dr. Hawkins again, go back to what he says about energy. He calibrates weight to each emotion, right? That everything has got a calibrated energy. So if you think about that and you think about the energy that's coming in, when extraterrestrials are in an area, because of their vibration is very, very different than ours. It's very, very light. There's a sense of this change of energy. There's a sense of calmness. It's almost unexplainable. And in certain areas, one of them being Montauk, people are out in that area and they'll say, oh, because it's the end of the island, and it's the area, and it's the sea, and it's no, it's none of that. It's the change in the energy that's being experienced, because that is a major hub, a major transport for ETs to come in.
Makes me want to go drive out to Montauk
Machu
right now.
Picchu's another one. Let's go right now.
Well, I guess we'll find out soon. So next week, I think next week we should definitely dip into the whole human hybrid things. I think there's a lot of people that would be interested in that. Certainly, I know that I would be.
Absolutely. Talking my language, five soul origins on this planet currently, 5 different types of souls. One's a human, one's a hybrid, one's an ET, and I'll leave you in suspense for next week.
Okay, so is everybody one of the 5 then, or are there exceptions?
Everybody is one of the 5 soul origins,
Okay.
yes. And these 5 soul origins have been here since the creation of the planet, yes.
Oh, I like that. All right, we should definitely go over that next week then.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Okay.
my cat wants to be in the show. All right, well
One of the soul origins.
I guess that wraps it up for this episode of Paranormal Pursuit. It's Maya, Robert, and Sandy, and we will see you next week, same day, same time.
Okay.
Sounds great.
So long.
So long.